Happy New Year's Eve. You know, I would imagine that a number of people, including me tonight, are ready to say goodbye to 2020 and hello 2021. I've told our staff sometimes during the staff meetings that there have been weeks that I felt like I was stuck in the movie Groundhog Day, that I just kept living the same day over and over. And there's always things to be grateful for, but I know we would agree that this has been a very unusual year. So welcome to this New Year's Eve burning bowl service and ceremony. Tonight is known as a threshold. It's a time of ending and beginning. And so we harness that energy that is present in this evening as we take the opportunity to reflect, to think about the things in our life that are no longer serving us, the things that we really don't want to carry forward. And we do that in this service, which is very participatory. So hopefully you have your items. I'll show you in just a moment what you're going to need there. But we're going to use the power of what's called ritual. Ritual has been described as prayer with arts and crafts, and I think that's a fun way to describe it. But ritual is really the bringing together of the inner intention through outer action. It's where we get really clear about what our intentions are, and we use action and different things sometimes to help us set that in motion. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. Those of you that picked up a packet, you'll have an envelope like this, and inside of the envelope, this is what we're looking for. There's a piece of paper that's called flash paper. Magicians use it. As soon as it touches the fire, it goes poof. So the things that you'll need tonight, if you don't have this kind of paper, no worries. Just we'll have some opportunity where you can find a little piece of paper. We're not going to write an editorial or a whole story. Our mind thinks in symbols, and so you'll be a time of meditation. You'll be using this to capture some symbols, and then we will use this into the fire. So you'll need a little piece of paper. You'll need some sort of writing instrument, a pen or a pencil, and then some container, maybe a bowl or a container with a candle so that you can safely drop your piece of paper into that. So you'll have the opportunity to hopefully collect those as tonight we look at this threshold and we talk about what do we want to carry forward. Are there places in our lives that we need to make peace with something? Is there anything we need to let go of, literally bring to an end or release? And where in our life do we need the fire to illuminate and to transform? And the biggest question we ask tonight is, am I available? How present and available am I to the fulfillment of my soul's purpose? So again, your flash paper or a little piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, and then a candle that is lit inside of some sort of container so that you can drop your paper. So I want to invite you to join in an opening prayer. I'm delighted tonight to have our faithful Richard Shulman with us on piano. We have a couple of other people joining tonight that I'll introduce in just a moment. But as we close our eyes, we just stand in awe of this year. None of us could have predicted what 2020 would bring. Many of us have learned new things. We have experienced things that we've never experienced in our lifetime. And we're here tonight. We're here tonight to give thanks, to reflect, and to seize the opportunity of a new year, to join the collective momentum, this augmentation of new energy, the opportunity of free will and of choice, and to harness that power to let go and to begin anew. And so we give thanks for the realization that we join with people throughout this community. We join with people really around the globe that will welcome the ending and will welcome a beginning. And so we tune into that tonight collectively and individually. And we give thanks for this opportunity to be here. And so it is. And so once again tonight, as this, you'll get to participate, just to make sure you have a little piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, and a candle that is lit, hopefully inside of some little container so you can safely ignite your paper. You know, 2020 has been one of those years that really has reminded us that we're not in this alone, that our actions, our choices impact one another. You know, this year we've really even had to notice that our presence, our breath impacts another person, that we truly are in this together. Well, and tonight you're going to hear from a couple of other people about what it means to them to be in this together, and how does that relate to the power of release? Why is it such an opportunity? Why is it so important that we can release and begin anew? You're going to hear from first Sharon Oxendine. Sharon is one of our board members, but she is also an elder in the Lumbee tribe, and so you'll have the opportunity to hear some of her wisdom. And then we have with us Reverend Jane Nelson. Reverend Jane is what we call a minister in residence. She's an ordained minister with the Metropolitan Community Church, but she is here serving with us as a minister in residence of community outreach. So you're going to have the opportunity to hear them share. But first, we want to take a little look at this past year. Some in the life of our community here at Unity of the Blue Ridge, but then also globally and collectively. So just take an opportunity to look at these images of 2020.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning here. And I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Hi, I'm Sharon Oxendine, and I am an elder from the Lumbee tribe. I want to thank Rev Darlene for asking me to speak here. It's a real honor. And also, when she asked me, I realized, what was I going to say? What was I going to share about? What did I want to share about? And I always think about what I would like to do. And then as I go through my prayers, I begin to pray, what would Creator have me share? What would Creator have me say to anyone who's viewing this and might be able to learn something from something I've been through or some message that I might carry? And especially, I want to carry a message of hope. What I can tell you, in my tradition, New Year's Day is a really big deal. And generally, it's spent doing a sweat lodge. And the last sweat lodge I've been able to do was January 1st, 2020. And it was a day much like today, which is cold and rainy. And we were still there with about 20 people who gathered. Keep in mind, all of the elements are there whenever you're doing a sweat lodge. So the sweat lodge has fire, and it has the earth, and it has water and air. And we were all there to sweat together and to pray together and to be together. And it's almost like I can still hear those prayers. In a sweat lodge, we pray on top of one another, is what we call it. We all pray at the same time. And there were a lot of people who were already in distress, including myself. I had just lost my best friend 2 months before the sweat lodge in November of 2019. I was also struggling with some situations that I was in as far as my work. I wasn't in a good place, and I didn't know what to release or to let go of, or how to even do that, even though it seems like I've done it a lot in my life. It seems as though whenever it comes back around, I always get really scared. You know, what happens? What do you do? How do you do this? But I sat in that lodge, and I don't know how long we were in the lodge that day, but I remember crying a lot. And that was the beginning of releasing. And I remember praying a lot. And that was the beginning of releasing. And I remember sharing with those that were there and listening to them share. And like I said, I remember those prayers so vividly. And I think the reason I did was because that was January 2020. And by the middle of March 2020, we heard some news in this country about something that had happened that had never happened since I had been alive. We had a pandemic, and how scary for all of us. And my mind kept going back to that sweat lodge and those prayers. And then we had so much social unrest that began to happen. And we saw all of that played out. And again, you know, the loss, the grief, the despair that all of us felt together as a community. And looking back on it, I realized, you know, I'd go back to that sweat lodge. What if we prayed this into our world? Not intentionally. None of us wanted anybody to be sick or to die or to have all this social unrest or this pandemic. But what came out of that For me, what came out of it was the beginning of a new life for myself. I left a job that I had been in for quite a while. I felt like it was the best thing to do for myself and for my family. I also was like so many other people, sequestered at home during a pandemic, but things began to change. I set up a little program for myself. I began to do some things differently in my prayer life and for myself. I began to connect more with who I was and who I am. And I saw myself changing, making all of these changes and realizing that sometimes it's just possible that we just surrender and let go. And it doesn't feel good for a very long time. But I can tell you today, I feel really good. I feel hopeful. I feel joy. I feel really good about being right here in this place today. Even though all of you aren't here, I can feel the energy of each one of you as part of my community. I've stayed connected to Unity of the Blue Ridge. I've stayed connected to the work that we've been doing here. I've stayed connected through many avenues of other programs that I'm a part of. And I have work today. I'm able to go to work, and I work from home. And it feels as though my life is still continuing to shift and change. When I thought about sharing with you today this message of transformation, I always look to nature. And fire is indicative of the ancestors for me. In our traditions, whenever someone dies, we put a fire for 3 days, and we call everybody to come, and they come and they bring their own log, and they tell a story about that person, and then they add that log to the fire. And even if you don't know that person, you'll know them before you leave. Fire is a very strong element, of course, all of the elements. And those are things that I honor each and every day. Once I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is go outside and recognize the elements of earth, air, fire, and water, and call on the ancestors. Hold those gates open for me today. Help me to walk through those gates and do the work, because I'm still here and I'm healthy. I'm healthy today. That's one of the biggest things that has come out of this time for me at home, is that I have increased my health. And we have to be healthy to be able to help one another and to serve one another and to work together. One of the things I'm looking at around the world, of course, for myself, I'm so excited that the new incoming president has chosen a First Nations woman to be a Secretary of Interior, and that in the cabinet, and that is huge. This is a woman that served at Standing Rock. This is a woman who was homeless at one time. Today I watched a video about some of the young girls on the reservation when they found out that she had been named to this position. They began to cry because they said, "She did it, we can do it." And that's the thing I'm starting to realize, is that I have to stand up and make a way so that my granddaughter and the women and the men that are coming after us, because that is our responsibility, especially as an elder, that those who come after us know there's something here for them too, and that they can do things they never thought they could do. I'll leave you with this last little thing. I very much watch the bears. I'm part of the bear clan, so bears are real important to me. A bear on the medicine wheel is in the West, and the West is the place that we always say, that's where you go to let things go. When you're in a sweat lodge, the West is at the back, right in front of the fire, and I always try to avoid that place. I never want to sit in the West. It's the hottest place in the sweat lodge, but that's where the medicine goes the strongest. Of course, I end up being there most of the time because I need to be there. But it's always kind of scary to me knowing that I'm sitting in the West. But as we move into this time of winter, we know that Grandfather Bear is going into that place in the cave. And so many people think, oh yeah, he's going in, he's big and fat, he's already fed up and everything, he's got his food on, and he's going to go to sleep. But you know what? Grandfather Bear is not just sleeping. He's dreaming. That's what we have to do. We have to go into that cave and we have to dream together as a community that things are going to come this year that are going to be different, but they're going to be good for all of us. And until all of us are strong and healthy and good, then I still have work to do in this world, not only transforming myself, but looking and supporting all of those who want to transform themselves. As part of the work is that I'm here to help walk each other home. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for speaking to me. My name is Reverend Jane Nelson, and as Rev Darlene said, I'm a retired minister with Metropolitan Community Churches, MCC. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share with you this evening about the necessity and power of release. For me, it's two different things. Some say let go and let God. Others call it admitting that we are powerless over a situation and looking to a power greater than ourselves to help us make peace of the chaos into sanity. While you and I have heard these truths, I faced a situation last February that shook me to my core and has taught me there is the necessity and power of release. You see, tonight is about truth-telling. It's about learning from those being still and knowing that I am God in the moments of my life. On February the 4th, my oldest child had some sort of psychotic break and murdered an extended family member. I can tell you I was paralyzed with fear and grief. I was shocked and in shock from the news. I painfully told my wife and family what had happened. I called my therapist. I contacted Reverend Darlene and Reverend Christy and my boss. And after that, I went into a deep depression. I wasn't able to maintain my daily activities. I began coping by drinking large amounts of alcohol. And folks, my grief and fears and anguish was palpable and crushing. I had never been through anything like this before in my life. The thought that my daughter, a wife and a mother, an attorney, could do such a thing and is now being charged with capital murder broke me. I felt ashamed and angry. I withdrew from work and from ministry. And in time, I began to realize that I have to release these feelings in order to survive, much less to help my daughter, her family, and anyone else. I was and am blessed with a strong support system. My wife, my son, my boss, some close friends, and Rev Darlene and Christy. The Unity family. See, you may not even know it, but the strength of unity as a unit and the healing energy that this unit provides in the community reached all the way to my home where I was hiding. And I thank you for that. I remember thinking I didn't want to be an angry, bitter old drunk. I didn't see myself as that. I didn't understand why I was doing some of the things I was doing. And I remember the day that I nervously wrote out an affirmation. I said, I want to heal through this tragedy as long as it takes, knowing that I'll have deep scars, to be a light that reflects the presence of God, even through the cracks of life that I've endured. I began reading this affirmation 3 times a day. I began to tell myself the truth. And folks, there's real power in truth-telling. I began to say, I am not to blame. I did not do anything wrong. I did not cause this tragedy. This problem is bigger than me and is not my problem. This is something that I cannot control. But I can face the future. And that was my biggest fear, that I couldn't. But I began to tell myself, you can face not only what's happened, the past, but today and the future. I said I can forgive myself and my daughter. And if I can forgive myself and my daughter, then I should be able to forgive anything. I came to accept this situation as not mine and look to my source and help. You see, I can't pinpoint where and what I was doing when all of a sudden I felt that grand power of release, but I did. I began to feel my feelings. I could not run from them. I couldn't get over them or around them. I made the comment, I'll be glad when this passes. Well, guess what, folks? It does not pass. You can't pass those feelings. You have to go through them. I began asking for help and praying intentionally, and also praying when I didn't know what else to do. And I began to experience the power of release. How do I know? Because I can stand before you tonight. I can love people. I can allow Spirit to use this tragedy and heartache in my life to help someone else. Am I hurting? Yes, but with power and purpose. I remembered a favorite verse along this time from 2 Timothy. It says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. What is my hope? My hope is that even in speaking of this pain and release tonight, that it will allow me to go through this situation and not past it, but through it. Allow you to maybe go through a situation and release that tonight. To go through the burning bowl, to release, to look for healing, to find transformation. And my prayer, yes, it's to help my family, but it's also to be present with a grieving parent. It's also to help someone that has a loved one that's mentally ill and they don't know what to do. To help someone that's facing a trial that they never in their wildest dreams expected they would be facing. That's what I want to do. I want to help people that are dealing with consequences and struggling. I want to be vulnerable and authentic. Get ready. I'm diving in.
Reverend Jane, Elder Sharon, I want to thank you for your honesty. You know, one of the things that I so love about being here is the depth of heart and soul and realness. And I think that's what makes a difference. People feel it. And this is certainly not the only community, and I'm grateful that there are growing numbers of community where people are getting real. You know, the scripture says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And sometimes we think that there's one truth out there, that there's one concept as in truth, that if we could ever apprehend that, we would find our way to freedom. I don't believe that's what it means. You see, a feeling that is felt to completion will return you to essence. A person, a being that is completely honest, their truth, owning what's real for them, the good, the bad, the ugly. When we can be present to our truth and be in relationship with it and say, this is my truth, and this is not everything that meets the eye. This is my truth. We create a spaciousness for something else to be revealed. As Sharon said about nature, nature is such a grand teacher, and this time of year, and preparing for this time of year, the trees, they begin to let go. Things go dormant. They appear to be dead, but they're not dead. Just as that bear in the ground is not simply in the ground, the trees, a lot of these things are not dead, but they've gone in. They've expressed what was real and what is true. And now there's a time for a new expression to come forth. We are ready as a people. I want to create space that can hold the possibility for my truth and for your truth. Not what used to be true, but what is true in this moment. And what can build upon, just like everything that an individual goes through. How can you use all of that as grist for the millstone? So I invite you to get your piece of paper and a pen or pencil. And we're going to take a few minutes and I invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable to do so. And I'm going to sing a chorus of a song, and then we're going to go into a time of meditative reflection where I ask a few questions. And if something comes up for you, just make a mark, a note, a picture, a symbol. Again, it's not about writing the whole story or the reason or the fullness of whatever you may feel to release. But you put something on this piece of paper that symbolizes it. You can write things all over the top of each other. It doesn't matter. This is so that your being can acknowledge your willingness to let go. So I lay it down, I set it free, I let my heart rest, I let it be, I lay it down, I set it free, I lay it down on the altar of love. We bring our awareness to our breath. This very same breath has been with you since the very moment you came into this world. Through every birthday, through every joy, through every celebration, through every new experience, your breath was right there. Through every sorrow, through every loss, through every heartbreak, your breath was right there. Your breath, Spirit, is right here. And anytime we can ride on the awareness of our breath, just for a couple of moments, to be aware of the rise and the fall of our breath, it naturally returns us to that dimension of our being that is always present, to our spirit. This animating life force within us is a source of great wisdom. It is a source of great evolution, bringing forth more of our latent potentiality continually. And just as this life force would cause a tree to let go, this life force lets us know when it's time to let go. And so we begin. Are there any ways or places in my life where I've been caught up in the effects of what's going on? I've sort of got caught up and carried away in a whirlwind of effects. Have I accumulated any angst or anxiety? Have I taken on anything that's a result of those effects? Just write on that piece of paper anything that you may have picked up or started to carry or bought into. And what has been a source of hurt? Is there anything that's really hurting? And I need to write it down to own it, that this hurts. What hurts? What causes me pain? What causes me unrest? I don't need to judge it or explain it. I'm just going to write it down right now and acknowledge it. Where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? Where do I have shame? I'm ashamed of myself, or I feel like I just need to hide this. Where does that old shame creep in? I'm ashamed. How has that crept in? Are there any grudges or resentments? I may not know even how to let them go, and I don't have to. Right now, this is about acknowledging them. Are there old grudges, resentments? Are there old memories, sweet, bittersweet, or terribly sour? Are there any old memories that are taking up so much space in my life? I know they're taking up space that needs to be released. Just acknowledging the memories that may be crowding out a new possibility. It doesn't mean the love still isn't there. It doesn't mean that the memories don't linger, that if we love them. But are there undue attachments? Are we clinging? Are there any kind of memories, sweet, bittersweet, or sour, that just keep hooking us? What about habits or patterns? Thought patterns, unproductive habits, where do I recognize those in my life? Holy Spirit, may I see the things in my life that are no longer serving me. May I see the places where I have become victim of my circumstances. May I release anything that is preventing me from serving my soul's purpose and my highest good. Reveal it, that it may be healed. I'm gonna lay it down, gonna set it free. I'll let my heart rest, I will let it be. I'll lay it down, I set it free. I lay it down on the altar of love. So you write as many things and as long as you need to. And when you're ready, it's gone. Now we'll talk about where it went and what we do next. But I'm going to invite up Sharon, and then if you would stand over here and hold space, and then Reverend Jane, if you would stand here and then move over and hold space. We're gonna lay it down. We set it free. We let our hearts rest. We let it be. I lay it down. I set it free. I lay it down on the altar of love. Sharon, would you release yours also? And just hold space. Jane, if you would release yours. If you would direct Jane and Sharon your energy out to every person that is watching and joining. We call upon the power of the whole Holy Spirit, the Spirit that is the very life of each and every one of us. We acknowledge that, just as the Jewish Talmud said, that over every blade of grass there is an angel that whispers, grow, grow, grow. That there is an activity, an energy, a life force that animates all creation and animates us. And it is bent in the direction of healing and wholeness and releasing and realizing its full potentiality. And so we stand tonight joining together with you, acknowledging that it's not by might, it's not by power, but it's by the Spirit. It is by the Spirit within each and every one of us. That as we continue to acknowledge these things and place them on the curbside of our awareness, if you will, that it is the Holy Spirit, just like this earth that appears to magically grow things. Things grow and change and transform. And so we hold it in that ground of awareness. We hold it in prayer, and we don't keep digging it up to see if it's still there or if it's gone. But every time these things come up, we say, yes, I notice, and I'm releasing that. I'm making space. So I lay it down. I set it free. I let my heart rest. I let it be. I lay it down. I set it free. I lay it down on the altar We give thanks for our capacity to release, to let go. We're told that when we ask, we receive. When we seek, we find. When we knock, the doors are opened. We also realize that there is a space between those things. And it is in that space that we stand and we know together that as we let go and release and intend and do our honest to goodness best to bring forth new ways of being, that we will be supported, and we are here to support one another. And so for this, we are truly grateful. We're going to take you back in time for just a moment to watch a song. It's a song by Daniel Nahmod that says, "Into My Empty Hands," performed by Paula Hankey. Enjoy this song, and we'll be right back to take the next step. Thank you.
When my hands were emptied, when my hope was gone, I couldn't help but wonder, what had I done wrong? Even though my heart was broken, there I admit sometimes I do, or consider giving up, 'cause I cannot see the truth. I'll never go without it. Your deep abiding love into my empty hands. Gently you poured new life from me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. Gently you poured new life for me. Yours is a perfect plan. The ups and the downs were meant to be, and I cannot help but cry to think of the gifts you've given me. Now I understand you needed my empty hands. Oh, thank you for it. Thank you for my empty hands. Thank you for my empty hands.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I love that song. Into these empty hands. You know, that's a powerful song, and I know Daniel personally. Many of you have met him, and he was going through some things in his life, and you know, it bears saying that sometimes we find ourselves at this bowl, we find ourselves releasing things because we don't have a choice. Just like Reverend Jane talked about, her life will never be the same. And so we acknowledge that for better or worse, change is the way of life. Change is not optional, growth is. But we stand tonight together in that place and holding that knowing that we're growing and transforming. And I also want to say of 2020 is I think it's helped us grow up a little bit, and perhaps we've needed to. that we've looked to the saviors and those people to take care of those things, and it's calling for us to be more involved in our collective creations. And so this is where we use the power of ritual to release and to claim that. But it's really important to now set into motion what are the seeds that you're seeding. And so you have an envelope and you have a little piece of paper, a half sheet of paper. If some of you are joining us and you have not yet collected these things, no worries, because we're in just a few minutes. Richard is going to play, he's going to tune into your collective energy and play a soul song, and then we're just going to gracefully sign off. But your invitation is, it says, this is a quote from the book of Revelation, it's 21:5. Behold, I am making all things new. Now this is active. I am that I am. I am the first, the last, the Alpha and Omega, the spirit that animates all creation. I am making all things new. And I am is your spiritual name, so to speak. And so on this piece of paper, it's important to take some time and think about the qualities of being that you want to claim for 2021. Think about some of the things that you're committing to, that you're going to set in motion. Some people write this as a letter that says, Dear God, or Dear Universe. And so again, Richard's going to play a little music and we're going to gracefully sign off. But in your own time, and I invite you to do this before 2021 rolls around, so you've got a few hours, depending on when you're watching. If it's already rolled around by the time you watch this, hey, it's never too late. Set it in motion. But you want to write this, and then you have an envelope. There's a couple of options here. If you want to address this envelope to yourself and seal it and drop it off to our church or mail it to us, we will hold it. We don't open these, we hold them, and then we'll mail it back to you next year before the Christmas holiday season. Another option, because so many people are sequestered this year, what one of our staff members suggested, I thought was a brilliant idea, is when you put away your holiday decorations, put your letter on top. So next year, when you pull out your holiday decorations, there your letter will be, and you can sit down and remember this night together and remember what you set in motion. So I want to thank you for being here. I celebrate this new year and these new possibilities with you. I look forward to seeing you, and Lord knows it's going to be some awkward hugs when we finally do get together. I believe in you because I believe in the Spirit that is within you. So Richard, would you tune in tonight and play whatever you feel? Let his music bless you and inspire you to write your letter. Blessings, my friend, and I hope to see you Sunday.